And from Cambridge Fieldhouse, greetings. Outside, crowds crowded. For the first time, the two friends square off in WNBA play as Paige Bueckers, and the Dallas Wings played Caitlin Clark and the Beaver. Caitlin Clark did more than just keep her detractors quiet in a historic blowout. She broke 4 WNBA records and humiliated Paige Bueckers on national television. In the corner is Lexi. Caitlin is extra left wing from her town and downtown. 32 drinks we've been waiting 5 years for. This rivalry. When it did occur, it was vicious. We just got done watching the Indiana Fever versus Dallas Wings game live. In the Indiana Fever, 102-283. The reason this game was so eagerly awaited was that it would, the first time that Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark would face each other in the WNBA, but because this rivalry just shifted from being competitive to being intensely personal. Paige's actions following the game startled everyone even more. Here's Clark off the give and go on her home floor. Howard's extra feed and the lay. High school was where it all began. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, 2 teenage basketball prodigies, are advancing through the ranks to become the sport's future stars. Distinct personalities, distinct styles, and completely different routes. In an effort to leave her own legacy, Clark decided on Iowa. Getting Clark off the ball more has been one of Lisa Blutt's goals this season. Here, Clark has the first while, driving and lying. Bueckers joined a dynasty in the Yukon under Gino Orama. Iowa turnover. It was cut by Bueckers. Their matches were legendary for years. To be clear though, Clark was in control. Out of their 3 college meetings, she won 2 of them, including a 41-point Yukon season finished with a March Madness gem. Clark will arrive, Iowa by 2. 8 more to go. We'll take care of it. Iowa returns to the national championship game after defeating Connecticut. Clap's critics held on to Paige's polish, though. Gino Orama openly questioned if Clark's outrageous flair would work in the WNBA. Now, fast forward to the present. This is the first professional matchup between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. This was no ordinary game. Philosophies, reputations, and pride were all at stake in this conflict. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers have finally competed in the professional ranks. Naturally, the discussion over better versus worse has begun. First of all, it's hilarious to do this all the time, but it's a sport. People are continuously being compared to one another in this situation. There are distinctions in their game, but I do think this is a bit overstated. I want to start by saying that I am not a Paige Bueckers hater, even though there are parallels to their game. She is a fantastic player in my opinion, but it's like comparing a scalpel and a firecracker. Nevertheless, there will be many effects that every player has a teammate. Clark needed to prove everything. Bueckers needed to safeguard everything. They had also been inconsistent with the Fever. A fantastic game followed by a catastrophe. Coach Clark wanted mayhem. Stephanie White wanted a calmer, more methodical half-court attack. She desired to spread the floor, accelerate the tempo, and make full-court passes. It's tic-tac-toe. The switch ahead, Clark. Oh, how lovely finished landing Fever. Fires, bounce pass, a beam near the foul line, and an AV screen to the right elbow. Thus, the question before this battle was straightforward. Would Clark finally be allowed to play her game by Stephanie White? Or would she maintain control and risk missing this opportunity? Man, pay attention. This Caitlin Clark versus Stephanie White controversy has the potential to quickly become ugly. I have to be honest with all of you. Caitlin Clark wants to play one way. That's Stephanie White wants to play the complete opposite. Play yesterday's victory for the Indiana Fever was a tale of 2 halves. The Indiana Fever performed in the Stephanie White style during the first half. That nasty puke basketball was grinded out. During the first half, the basketball team puked. The Caitlin Clark went full throttle, pedaled to the metal, and ran in. The second half, despite making shots, Scary was accelerating the pace while running nonstop. What did we do then? We are going to score about 100 points. We're heading to get a score of 99. Around halftime, I'm also hearing rumors of an altercation in the tunnel. Furthermore, if it did occur, I'm happy it did. It must continue, and Caitlin Clark must keep putting pressure on them since this is her team. Then the shocker arrived. The keys were given to Clark by Stephanie White. The events that followed were historic. Like never before, Clark spread the floor wide. She spearheaded the attack, managed the tempo, and made in transition. The wings appear vanished. In fact, he brought up statistics from Steph Curry's shooting slump. She claimed that greatly improved her mood. Mitchell will also be on the money with that pass. Dishing to Hall round the corner. Additional feed, Clark 3 deep. You wager. The Fever outscored Dallas by 21 points after exploding for 36 points in the second quarter alone. The basketball game was stunning. Clark's constant mismatches were caused by vision. Her colleagues sprang to life. 20 points were lost by Kelsey Mitchell. In the paint, Natasha Howard went crazy. And Boston Olia, she became powerful, changing every let's pass Clark Federer. The Fever scored a franchise-high 64 points by the half. Indiana is on its way. Clark has returned, away from the hole. Grab it. Fire, you wager? The Bever had a remarkable first half. Indiana scores 64 points. It was a surgical ball movement. She wasn't even trying to force her shot, and Clark had already recorded double-digit assists. But offensive wasn't the only thing at stake. Clark also added vigor to the defense, stealing passes, spotting moves, and causing trouble. Pa has it. Bounce pass. Cookies dressed like Cookie Monsters. Caitlin places it to the left. She became the only player in WNBA history to have 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 thefts in a game for the second time in her career. When she recorded her 5th steal, that has never been done by anyone else, not once. Dominance was the issue. It was a show of leadership. A masterclass was held. Paige also performed admirably. Don't misunderstand. 21 points with effective shooting. Yesterday, while Bueckers was burying the jumper, she was speaking with her player development coach. Kaizura sustains it. This is Bueckers. A deep one is preferable. Caitlin Clark's Paige Bueckers. However, the thunder of Clark's dominance over every square inch of the floor overpowered her subtle influence. The press conference following the game followed. That's when things became cold. What went wrong in the second quarter was the question. Posed to Paige, she responded bluntly, mostly defending the changeover and preventing us from returning. They were easily offended. The second quarter was difficult. Paige. 1. What specific factors did you see that contributed to the Fever's huge margin? Basically, it's simply transition defense and us not returning. Perhaps too many crashes, or simply not having 2 people back. I'm hurrying to the ball rather than returning. And then, well, they simply got out and got easy offense on mistakes and missed baskets. She didn't withhold anything, but she also didn't name names. She praised the work of her own team and, consequently, gave Clark all the credit without mentioning her own name. She seemed reticent when questioned about her experience competing against Caitlin. Yes, it's enjoyable. As rivals, we both want to win. Fantastic setting, sold-out audience. You've been questioned a lot about it, but now that you've officially faced Caitlin and the W, could you tell us how it went? How did today's atmosphere feel? With them, what have you had? Yes, it's enjoyable whenever we can compete in opposition to one another. We're just 2 rivals who have grown up playing against and with each other, and our only goal is to win. So it's fantastic. And this place has a terrific atmosphere. They have a huge home court advantage, in my opinion, and every game is sold out. All in all, it's a terrific setting. Warm praise, not precisely. No, she did a fantastic job. No, she was in charge. Simply put, professionalism. Paige had a frown on her face. She wasn't kidding. She wasn't trying to conceal the pain of this loss. Additionally, when journalists inquired about turnovers, particularly those that Clark picked off, Paige claimed to be intelligent. She will make it difficult to make catches and block passing lanes. I thought they were really trapping you. On the first meeting, Paige, you were still able to collect your points and be effective today. Well, how do you think they may be guarding you in a different way this time around than they did in the first game? I kind of feel the same way. I still believe that I could have handled the ball more skillfully. However, two are just reading correctly out off trap. Out of them, they set a double and then took advantage of it. It was more about respect, but it was cold. This was not a friendship-based rivalry. That's when Paige, I'm not here to clap for Caitlin Clark, Bueckers said quietly. Fans realized then that this was battle, not simply excitement. To be honest, Caitlin Clark's victory over Paige Bueckers wasn't the only one. She revealed the opening. As Paige struck, Clark was leading fast breaks, starting ball movement, dictating tempo, and obstructing passing lanes while there were some fluid mid-range jumpers. She improved everyone around her, not just herself. She gave the impression that she was far superior than the Dallas Wings and their players. Caitlin Clark was the system, but Paige Bueckers was a jerk. And for that reason, this game was more than just a victory. It was a slap in the face to everyone who said Clark's style, a statement, a strategic win, and a philosophical success. In the WNBA, it wouldn't work. This was Clark basketball being totally embraced by the Fever, swift, fluid, and unrelenting, releasing the version of themselves that their fans had been clamoring for. A monster was unlocked after Coach White modified her system. However, it's clear from Paige's response that this story is far from finished. Her cold demeanor, her refusal to participate in the praise game played by the media. It wasn't resentment. It served as a warning. This rivalry has not been resolved. It's only the beginning. The stakes will be significantly higher when these two meet again. And there's no doubt that Paige Bueckers will seek retribution. However, she will need to work much harder after this performance because Caitlin Clark didn't simply win a game, she interpreted one. Where do you stand then? Could this be the start of the most intense rivalry the WNBA has ever witnessed? Will Paige ever be able to catch up? Tell us in the comments section. Press the like button, and for more crazy moments like this one, subscribe. Team Paige or Team CC? Select on your side.